Hi. Hi everybody. Yeah, my name is Liang Wei. I'm a data scientist. Been around for at least 8 years, alright, doing data science in the field. I've been in many fields, being in the technology space, banking, telecommunications, and also in the aviation space over here. Alright, so I think as a data scientist, we need actually three basic knowledge space, alright? So the three basic knowledge space, of course, first of all, the very basic foundations actually is statistics, alright? Statistics covering, supervised learning, supervised algorithms, unsupervised, your hypothesis testing and all your basic stats that go along with it. And then secondly is actually the programming side of it. Programming side of it, it's something that you can learn, but some of the very mainstream languages that a data scientist would know is actually your SQL. All right, so SQL varies from system to system, but at least you need to know your basic SQL, right? And then the other one's actually Python. So actually, there are a lot of spaces where there are a lot of languages people like to use, all right. But two of the main languages are actually Python and also R, all right. But in the productionalized space itself, we see Python being the winner itself versus R. R, of course. Don't get me wrong, but R is actually very useful, especially doing exploratory analysis itself, because a lot of the functions are just, you just key in one line code and it does a lot of things. But with Python, there's more and more support, all right, over time we see, all right, but what happens is that you still need to key in quite a lot of lines to get the same thing in R itself. All right, so those are very, very different spaces. But in terms of the programming concepts, both of them are quite similar. So, your loops, your lists, and your data frames and things like that. At least the things that you need for data science are actually quite similar on both sides itself, including the visualization. All right. Lastly is business knowledge. So this is one of the very niche space where, because every business is quite different, right? In itself, each industry is different. What type of knowledge you need is extremely different itself, and the data science space itself also is quite wide. There is no one size fit all kind of thing going on. So every business needs their own data science business knowledge, very specific. So the three things again to go over. All right, number one is your statistical knowledge, all right, your programming, and then your business knowledge. So these are the things that you actually should need going into the interview itself. Now come to the interview itself, especially when you meet with companies itself. A lot of times what people are looking for is a data scientist that can come in and do quite a lot of changes itself. At least for companies who are starting out, but for companies that are more mature, then they can actually hire a junior data scientist to come along and then learn about the business. But where I see most of the data science applications itself, at least for the predictive space itself, is actually in marketing. All right, how do people actually increase their sales? Remarket to people who want tailor the exact needs of the particular customer. And give them what they need. All right, versus do a blanket approach to everything. And then end up the customer will just throw away or rather ignore your messages as you give along. All right, so I would advise probably to learn a bit of marketing 101. All right, what's marketing about, and then how can data science actually fit into that space itself. All right, so normally for campaign marketing, those are very popular. All right, and another thing, so we see a lot of application is models being deployed in the app itself. So especially when you have a multi-purpose app or a shopping app, for example, they want to know what's the next best thing that you want to recommend to them, right? Including movies also. So movies itself, especially like Netflix, we guys actually use Netflix quite a bit. The algorithms extremely different from all the usual marketing and whatnot, and those are very niche companies. There's only a couple of those who actually use those kind of algorithms, the Netflix kind of algorithm, and that kind of algorithm is called alternating least squares. All right, that's something that's very calculation intensive. You need quite a lot of resources to actually pull it off. like Spark for just like model processing and whatnot. Those are things that you can actually learn. So I think one of the best places to actually pick up. Some people like to go to the university route, all right? I think it's good, but most of the time, whatever they teach you is 2 to 3 years out of date. So best to actually go to where the source is, all right? So I will go into Coursera and actually take up some Google courses on machine learning itself, all right? You get to test out what's in the cloud, all right? Those are very in demand nowadays because going for cloud technology obviously is cheaper, all right? And then learn a bit of ML ops, all right? It's actually DevOps itself, and then learn how things are being deployed, so that when you're creating your model, you're able to actually work with the people surrounding you. And in actual fact, in the whole ecosystem of apps, especially in those type of like sales apps or shopping apps and whatnot, your model is actually a very tiny bit of the entire thing. It's probably 1 or 2% of the entire code. The other code is actually ingesting the data and actually outputting the data itself. So those are the huge amounts. So don't think highly of yourself. Be a little bit humble. Learn to know that you're actually doing a very small part of the whole entire thing. So learn to work with other people as you go along. When you're actually part of a very cohesive team that wants to work together, you will notice that a lot of things get done very quickly, all right? And not to mention, you can add a lot of things to your resume very quickly. So I've been in one of those 2 teams before, and I would say the experience is really, really good, all right? Yeah, so that's what I gotta say, all right? So I think that's all for interviewing, and getting started with data science as a career. All right, thank you very much.